Kalimantan, the Indonesian section of the island of Borneo, is vast. By comparison, Java, the dominant island of Indonesia, is 1/4 the size, but is home to 7 times as many people. The name Kalimantan derives from Sanskrit, meaning burning weather island. Kalimantan is a steamy, hot island covered by lush rainforests. It is inhabited by a people generically called the Dayak. But the Dayaks are very multicultural. There are many distinctive tribes and languages spoken by these indigenous people. The Dayaks, reflecting Hindu tradition, believe that happiness in life is found when you are in harmony with other human beings, with the natural environment, and with the Almighty. The Dayaks find joy in life through their art. When people come to visit them in their villages, they dance and play music as a way of welcoming their guests. As we flew over Kalimantan, approaching the city of Pangkalan Bun, we observed both the rich green canopy of the rainforests and the clouds of smoke rising upwards near a barren, deforested landscape. There were also plantations covered with bushes in straight, parallel rows. These are palm oil farms, responsible for much of the environmental degradation occurring in Southeast Asia. We had come to visit orangutans, the most human of animals on earth. Amazingly, they feel many emotions that we consider to be ours, such as joy and anger. Baby orangutans cry when they are uncomfortable or hungry, and they smile when they are happy. They live in only 2 places in the world, the islands of Borneo and Sumatra. The continued existence of orangutans is an allegory for the possibility of the permanence of life on Earth. They are highly threatened by man's greed, insensitivity, and rapacity, as are so many other species. If they survive, many other plants and animals, including ourselves, will too. Orangutans live in a canopy of trees, those very trees that are burned and demolished to make way for palm oil plantations. This process kills the animals and plants within the fire's perimeter. In addition, loggers cut down the forest indiscriminately, displacing the helpless animals as well as the indigenous people who reside there. After arriving in Pangkalan Bun, we were greeted by the crew of a small riverboat on which we were to explore Kalimantan. Rivers are the highways here, and we were on our way to visit an orangutan sanctuary. The name orangutan means person of the forest. Wide and reddish, they are short, between 4 and 4.5 feet tall, and weigh from 110 to 220 pounds. Their 7-foot arm spans are wider than they are tall. When they are on their feet, their hands touch the ground. They walk on all 4s. They are so strong that they can hang from branches for hours, collecting fruits and berries. Orangutans are shy and solitary by nature. The orangutan infant is totally helpless. The mother nurses the baby for 4 or 5 years. The toddler nests with her for another 3 or 4 years. If the mother should die, the baby will also die, unless adopted by a sanctuary. Mothers and children form close family ties. Females give birth rarely, usually about once every 8 years. And for the first 7 or so years, the baby hangs on to the mother's chest as she forages for food and constructs nests in which to sleep. The male lives alone. Orangutans spend 90% of their time in the trees. Overnight, and each time they want a nap, they create a brand new nest from leaves and vines. The construction of these is very sophisticated. Not only do they create the nest, but they make blankets and pillows from the leaves. Orangutans are very intelligent and creative, and use tools to navigate through their daily lives. They test the depth of rivers with branches. They use sticks to drive termites out of their holes. They use large leaves as umbrellas. A number of organizations have formed in Borneo and Sumatra to save orangutans from the devastation of deforestation and the cruelty of man. Some locals kill the mothers and eat them, leaving helpless orphaned babies. Camp Leakey is run by the Orangutan Foundation, whose mission it is to protect the habitat, to work with indigenous farmers and other people to help them gain an appreciation of conservation, and to do research on primates. They adopt orphaned babies and train them to become self-sufficient, the work normally done by the mother. It is not an easy job. The baby needs a lot of guidance to develop the skills to go out on its own. In the wild, baby orangutans spend every minute clinging to their mothers. If the baby is left alone, it gets hysterical and begins to cry and scream. Each baby in the sanctuary has a number of human babysitters that hold the baby day and night, just like Mommy. In addition, the baby must be taught what foods to eat. The orangutan is basically vegetarian and has thousands of plants to choose from in the jungle. They must learn to discern which are good and which make them sick. They also eat certain types of insects and must learn how to extract them from their hiding places. The orangutan must also be taught to climb and to make nests in the branches of trees, to interact with other orangutans, and if female, how to bring up their babies. The sanctuaries teach the youngsters all of these skills. It is a lot to do, and it is very costly. The sanctuaries earn tourist dollars by permitting people to walk through the jungle as far as feeding platforms, where fruits are left for the hungry animals. We entered Camp Leakey and walked through the forest, whose silence was broken sometimes by the howls of a male orangutan trying to attract a female. Branches snapped under our feet as we proceeded to our destination, a wooden feeding platform visited by the animals every morning. Other tourists were already there, sitting silently on wooden logs. We joined them. We waited, and we waited, and we waited. Just as we were about to give up, we could hear the swishing of the trees and catch a hint of reddish fur moving through the branches, and then in full sight watch the shy animal slowly descend to the platform. The orangutan took no notice of her audience, sat on her haunches, and methodically peeled and ate the bananas, sharing them with the baby clinging to her chest. She stayed for about 10 minutes, then turned and skillfully climbed back into the trees from whence she had come. A little later, another orangutan arrived, and so our trip to faraway Kalimantan was rewarded by viewing these wonderful animals in their natural habitat. In another meandering trip along the river, we encountered more amazing wildlife, among them long-nosed monkeys, who appear near the river in the late afternoon to feed and socialize. Our hearts go out to all of the wildlife, and we pray that these extraordinary animals survive and thrive on the earth we share, so that our children and grandchildren can have the same experience that we have had in viewing them and in being amazed by their wonders.